Welcome back to 100 Days of Hidden History, and today we're revealing the dark secret that's lying beneath the picturesque streets of the City of Love, the Paris Catacombs. The Paris Catacombs began life in the 1st century as open-pit quarries, and then in the 14th century they began to tunnel underneath the city itself. But after significant chunks of the city itself began to fall through into these quarries in the 18th century, further tunneling beneath the city was banned. But what was left behind was a vast network of more than 200 miles worth of tunnels running beneath the city. And later on in the 18th century, these tunnels provided the perfect solution to Paris's really grisly problem. The problem was pretty simple. The cemeteries were starting to overflow. Too many people were living and dying in the crowded city, and the bodies in the graveyards were starting to pile up. This started to cause all sorts of health issues and horrendous smells, and in one really horrific incident in 1780, the wall of Paris's largest graveyard collapsed after heavy rain, causing rotting corpses to spill out all over the streets and into neighbouring properties. But the catacombs seemed to provide the perfect solution, a vast space in which all of Paris's excess remains and bodies could be dumped. The first movement of bodies and remains from the graveyards to the catacombs began in the 1780s in the middle of the night in order to prevent any protests from the church or local people. The first remains were collected from Paris's largest cemetery, the same one that had had the wall collapse, and this cemetery had been in use for more than 900 years, meaning that it was pretty jam-packed. The remains were removed from the graves, the tombs, and the charnel house and dumped rather unceremoniously in the catacombs. Over the years, more and more graveyards were empty, and the tunnels beneath Paris began to stack up with bodies. Then, in the early 19th century, someone had the bright idea of beginning to arrange those remains into what is now an ossuary. Once this arrangement was finished, the catacombs were then opened to the public, and they are still open today if you want to go and see how all of these remains have been arranged. Today, more than 6 million Parisians lie in this final resting place beneath the city, and if you visit, then you'll be greeted by macabre sights just like this one. It's all too easy to forget what's lying below when you're strolling through the picturesque streets above. But tell me, do you still think Paris is the most romantic city in the world?